There is a cabin in Michigan that has never once been empty, not for a single night in 25 years. The owner makes sure of that because of what happens when it is. He rents it cheap. He takes cash. He does not ask what you do for a living, and he does not care whether you finish your book. He only cares that you are inside it, breathing when the sun goes down. I'm Silas Mortis. I go where the internet keeps its teeth, the boards without addresses, the mirrors that die by morning. And I bring back the stories that people only tell when they think nobody official is listening. Tonight's came up out of a locked archive, but it was born in the open on Reddit's r/leak, posted at 3:11 a.m. under the title Deadfall, and deleted 9 minutes later. Somebody saved it. Somebody always does. Now, let's get into the story I rented the cabin to write, 10 miles past where the phone signal quit. The signal died at the Deer Park sign. One bar, then the little pinwheel, then nothing, and the radio went to that soft hiss that sounds like somebody sleeping in the back seat. My Pontiac had 211,000 miles on it and a windshield crack that ran from the wiper to the mirror like a river on a map. Every pothole made the crack tick. After the pavement ended, it ticked for 40 minutes straight. The listing had said rustic riders retreat, Luce County, no Wi-Fi. That's the point. $400 a month. Nobody charges $400 a month for anything with a roof unless the roof has a story. Dale Herney was waiting on the porch when I pulled in, and he did not wave. He was maybe 60, built like a man who had spent his life lifting the wrong end of things. And he had a chainsaw in the bed of his truck with fresh chips still stuck in the sprocket. Fresh. He'd been cutting that morning. He took my $400, counted it twice, and folded it into a wallet held together with a rubber band. You writing a book? Trying to. Good. He looked at the tree line when he said it. Stay in at night. Bugs are bad. It was late September in the Upper Peninsula. It was 41 degrees. There were no bugs. Inside, the cabin smelled like cedar and old coffee. One room, one loft, one wood stove with a burn scar on the floor shaped like a foot. A coffee can of nails on the windowsill. A laminated card by the door with a number for the fire tower. And under it, in ballpoint, someone had written, "They don't answer after 9." Somebody else had tried to scratch it out and given up halfway. I put my laptop on the table. I put the FedEx envelope beside it, the one I'd been carrying from motel to motel for 5 months, the one with my ex-wife's lawyer's name in the corner. It had been folded and unfolded so many times the paper had gone soft, like cloth. I never opened it. I just moved it. That was my whole marriage now, a thing I moved. On the shelf above the stove, there was a black composition book, a guest book. I made coffee and read it like a menu. Cheryl and Bo, 1994. Saw a moose, the Kaminskis. Rain all week. Loved it anyway. Elias Vane, 2001. I stopped. My name is Elias Vance. I laughed out loud alone in a cabin 10 miles past the last bar of signal. Because, of course, some clerk somewhere had my name in a database and Dale had copied it wrong onto an old page, or I'd booked under a typo, or it didn't matter. It was a coincidence with a haircut. That's all. I noticed the little pencil check beside the name, and I did not think about it. There were checks beside about half the names. Housekeeping, I figured. Deposit returned. Something with a form number. I wrote 900 words that night. They were bad. I slept fine. In the morning, there was a circle on my porch. Branches. Deadfall. The dry stuff. The gray stuff that snaps like a wrist. Laid end to end into a ring about 4 feet across. Perfect enough that I stood there with my coffee going cold trying to find the compass that made it. No footprints. Frost on the boards all around it. Unbroken. Silver as a fish. Except inside the circle. Inside the circle, the frost was gone, and the wood was dry, and it was warm. I put my palm flat on it, warm like a dog had been sleeping there. I broke the circle apart with my boot and threw the branches in the fire and told myself, Dale. Dale with his chainsaw and his rubber band wallet, hazing the Flatlander, making sure I'd tell my friends the cabin was haunted so he could keep renting it at $400 a month. It was almost charming. I even wrote it down. Local color, I put in my notes. Use this. That was the first night I locked the door. The second night, it wasn't a circle. It was a door. 2 long uprights, a lintel across the top, a threshold at the bottom. Not leaned against the cabin, freestanding out on the frost-white boards, a door frame made of dead branches standing on nothing. And through it I could see my own porch railing in the dark in the trees, exactly the way you can see a room through a doorway. I got Dale's number off the laminated card. The satellite phone in the truck bed. His truck, not mine, and he wasn't there. So I drove. 22 minutes to his place on M77, and I hammered on his door at 6 in the morning with my heart going like a bird in a bag. He opened it in a bathrobe. He looked at my face and he did not look surprised, he looked sorry. "You broke it up," he said. Not a question. "In the circle, you broke it up. You need to stop this. Whatever this is. Was it a door this time?" I stopped talking. Dale Herney leaned on his own door frame, like it was the only thing holding him at the vertical. And he said the thing I've thought about every night since. "Long as somebody's in it," he said, "it stays up there. And if nobody's in it?" He didn't answer. He looked down the road toward town, toward the gas station, the church, the elementary school, with the mural of the loon on the side of it. And that's when I understood that Dale Herney was not a man haunting a cabin. He was a man feeding one. $400 a month, cash, no questions. Every month for 25 years, somebody inside that cabin. My hands started shaking on the drive back, and I let them. Here is the part I have never told anyone until now. The third morning, I woke up with sap on my hands, pitch, tacky and amber in the webs of my fingers, under my nails, pine needles in the bed. My boots by the door were wet to the laces, and there was a smear of black mud on the inside of the door handle, on the inside, where a hand would go if a hand were leaving. And the door of branches on the porch had grown. It had a frame now. It had detail. So I did what a rational man does. I went to the mirror over the sink, and I looked at a 44-year-old novelist with one good book behind him, a marriage he'd let rot in a FedEx envelope, and a prescription bottle in his shaving kit with a name on it he'd stopped saying out loud. Ambien, filled in March, half gone. It's me. God, the relief of it. It's me. I'm walking. I'm walking out there at 2 in the morning like a sad sleeping child, and I'm building doors out of sticks, and there's a word for that, and there's a pill for that, and there's a doctor in Ann Arbor for that. I flushed the Ambien. I nailed the door shut from the inside with a coffee can of nails. I stayed up all night with every lamp burning and my back to the wall, and I did not sleep, and I watched the tree line breathe, that slow in and out the pines do when the wind can't decide. And at 4:40 a.m., I was still awake, wide awake, nailed in, when the sound started on the porch. Dry wood, set down carefully. Tock, 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 tock. Somebody was building. It wasn't me. It had never been me. Whatever had touched me in my sleep had wanted me to think so, and it had left the sap on my hands the way a man leaves a tip. I saw him on the 4th day. Orange vest at the tree line, maybe 80 yards out, standing in that patient hunter's way, arms down, head slightly cocked. Hunting season, of course. A man in an orange vest is the most ordinary thing in the world in the UP in September. I nearly cried. I put my hands over my head and I yelled, "Hey, hey, buddy!" And I ran through the wet grass in my socks because he was another human being and he had a truck somewhere and I was going to get in it. He waited. That's the detail. He waited for me. 20 yards out, I could see the vest was rotted through, hanging in ribbons of that particular blaze color that doesn't fade, doesn't ever fade. They make it that way on purpose. I could see his arms were full of branches, cradled the way you carry firewood. I could see his mouth was open and had been open a long time. And I could see, hooked on his belt, a deer tag, laminated. The way you do it so the weather can't get at it. 2001. He didn't come toward me. He turned unhurried and walked back into the pines with his armload, and the trees took him the way water takes a stone. That night the woods finished spelling. I watched from the window with the lamp off. Nothing came out of the trees. Nothing had to. The branches on my porch simply were not where they had been, in the way that the hour hand simply is not where it was. No motion, just arrival. They spelled a name, big block letters laid out across my porch boards, dead gray wood on frost, Eliasvane, a name that was almost mine. And I understood it all at once, the way you understand a sentence in a language you didn't know you learned. It wasn't a message. It was a door tag. It was the name on the reservation. The woods had been trying to spell a name since 1994, since before that. Since before Cheryl and Bo saw their moose, and the pencil checks in the guest book weren't housekeeping. They were the ones who fit. Elias Vane. Rented 2001. Still out there in his orange vest, gathering branches every night for 25 years, spelling his own name over and over, waiting, patient as a tree, for somebody to walk up that road whose name was close enough. Because the woods are not careful. The woods are only patient. The door of branches swung inward on nothing. That's what I want you to understand. It swung on nothing. There was no hinge and no wall and no inside, and it opened anyway. And through the doorway, I could see my own porch railing. And it was the wrong porch railing. It was the same railing, but the frost on it was undisturbed. And the lamp behind it was on, and there was a man sitting at my table with his back to me, hunched over a laptop, working, at 4 a.m. And I knew the set of those shoulders because I have carried them my whole life. I should have stayed inside, but I had a phone with no signal, and a car with a cracked windshield and an envelope I'd never opened. And I had not spoken my daughter's name out loud in 11 months, and something in me, the same something that lets a man drive past the last bar of service in the first place, said, "Go see." I stepped through to see, and the cabin's light shrank behind me like a closing eye. There's no violence in it. I want to be honest with you, because nobody was honest with me. It doesn't hurt. It's a trade. That's all it ever was. He'd done his time, and he'd spelled his name, and I was close enough. And the second my boot crossed that threshold of dead branches, I felt the whole weight of it come off him and settle onto me like a coat somebody drops over your shoulders in the cold. I turned around and Elias Vane walked past me the other way. Out, into my cabin, into my lamplight, out of the orange vest, and for 1 second, his eyes came unstuck and found mine. And he said the only word he'd had in his mouth for 25 years. He said, "Sorry." Then he walked down my porch steps and up the road toward Deer Park, 25 years late for wherever he'd been going. And I stood in the frost in a rotted vest with my arms already filling up with wood. Now I gather branches nightly, spelling the next name for whoever rents this place. Dale's dead. I watched them carry him out in March, and I want you to know I wasn't glad. He was just a man who found out what was on his land and did the only arithmetic he could. Better one stranger a month than a whole town. He kept the cabin full for 25 years. That's not evil. That's a farmer. His nephew runs the listing now. $400 a month, cash. He doesn't know. The ad still says no Wi-Fi. That's the point. So here's what I do, and God help me for it. I cheat. I spell them almost. One letter wrong, always, deliberately. A name close enough to pull somebody up that road, but not close enough to catch. Because as long as it doesn't catch, nobody trades and nobody stands where I'm standing. Every night I lay it out. Every dawn I take it apart. I have gotten very, very good at wood. But my arms are getting slower, and the woods have started laying the letters back, correcting me while I sleep, the way a patient teacher corrects a child. And last night on the porch, in dry gray deadfall, I found a name I had not spelled. It was almost yours. If this one crawled under your skin, do me a small kindness. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and tells YouTube to put these stories in front of the people who need them. Subscribe for a new one every single day and share this with someone who'd love it or someone who's about to rent a cabin real cheap. Thank you for listening and for watching. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. I'm Silas Mortis. Stay inside, and I'll see you tomorrow night.